out of that. Sometimes, again, the visual of what they see there is more important than just listening to someone talk.
Right, right.
In e-learning, I constantly search the web for images that might illustrate or demonstrate the kinds of things I'm talking about. Again, it's as much about recognizing different styles of learning and different things that contribute to a way in which a person learns, rather than just one format. I think before, particularly the digital technology, a lot of teaching was one person talking to a group of people.
Right.
And there's very little variety.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, one to many.
That's right. And occasionally there'd be a conversation, depending upon the teacher. But for the most part, there was only one way for students to learn, or maybe two. They listened to lectures and they went away and read books.
Right.
And most books in academic circles don't have pictures.
That's true. That's true.
So again, someone who sees language rather than thinks language needs the visual. And as I said, most books don't have it. So the technology allows you to begin to combine the words on a page with pictures on a page, and just enables the students to learn a bit better that way.
What about the area of interaction with those students?
Yes. Again, in a classroom, obviously, well, the potential is for a lecturer to interact with students, although I've sat through many a lecture where the lecturer didn't have any interaction at all. Okay. And we actually moved away from lectures to what we call facilitations, where there was all interaction and the content was delivered some other way. Now, for us, all technology has helped, I think, in the interaction, because by use of technology, we can actually provide all the materials the students need in terms of content.
Right.
And we can spend the time we have together face-to-face, exploring, discussing, that kind of thing. Where without technology, I basically have to give the content and fit the interactivity around that.
Right.
Now that's a part of distance learning as well. Right? But then in actual digital e-learning, it's also given us some great opportunities. For instance, in the subjects that I've written recently, about half of the sessions, it would be the lecture session, will have some kind of a quiz in which the material they're hearing and reading, I now have questions that are asked. And they actually answer the question and immediately get responses to whether they get the right answer or not. So they don't have to wait for someone to mark it and come back.
Right.
So they can test whether or not they are actually understanding what they're reading. Okay? Which without technology, we just couldn't do that in the past.
Right.
Easily, right? The other thing that we do is we have group forums, and we use email extensively. And so we connect students who are some distance apart, and they can engage in discussion when they're not actually together, okay? Which I actually think is a good thing even for an on-campus based teaching. Yes. So the conversations don't stop when you leave the classroom.
Right.
Potentially they can continue, and it doesn't necessarily have to be everyone, but a couple of students can continue to explore and discuss without being present.
Now those conversations that take place though, are they synchronous or asynchronous?
They're asynchronous mostly, although I use and others use things like Skype. So recently I had a student who wanted to discuss an issue, so we Skyped with video Skype, and chatted for about a half hour. Now he lives 500 or 600 kilometers from where I live, but we were able to carry on that conversation and explore that in a synchronous time. So you got the advantage of doing both in that process.
Good.
And of course with the delivery of digital material, students can study whenever they want.
Yes.
You know, where the lecture model, of course, they have to come at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they have to be present.
Right.
Where with the distance education model, it's really designed for them to study when they want. And again, the nice thing about the technology that we use is it actually helps the students remember. The technology does it for them where they were last.
Oh yes. Okay.
So they can go straight to where they finished. If they got interrupted, they can go straight back to it. It tells them what they've done, what they've finished, so they don't have to keep track of all that kind of thing. And it allows them to virtually submit questions or issues without having to leave the medium that they're using. So again, it's what I would call the advantage of technology is it, in one sense, it's instantaneous, far more so than if someone is studying and wants to talk to a staff member and they've got to go find some place to either ring them or go and visit them.
Yes.
Where on the computer, if they're already doing their study on the computer with the digital format, have a question, they can just go bang, send it off. It might be a while before they get it back, but that might be the same if they ring somebody up or try to make an appointment to go see someone.
Okay, good. Yeah, my experience has not been with distance education, but certainly with classroom interaction.
Yes.
And I've just finished a preaching class where through the week we've had a blog.
Yes.
And so our students, advanced preaching class, so most of the students are pastors, and so they've been able to record their sermon in their own congregation, upload it to the blog, and the class get a chance to interact with a real lifetime preaching event. And so that's been very, very helpful for us.
Yes.
But that's been in a traditional classroom setting, but through the week being able to engage with those things, rather than have everyone go around to see them preach somewhere. It's all uploaded and they can see it.
Exactly. So much more convenient in that process, and you can have that dialogue. Before we actually went to e-learning, online learning, right? We just sent out hard copies of material to our students.
Right.
But about 18 months before we went to online learning, I actually did podcasts for each of the sessions and could upload it on a free website and just point my students that direction, and they would go there and listen to the podcast before they looked at the particular session. So I didn't even need an e-learning platform to actually begin to use the digital technology that was there. So it's great. I mean, the other thing that technology has done in particular for us is the scanning of materials, which virtually gives all of our students a potential library where they are. And of course we use the Nazarene College Library. I use it extensively here. And within the copyright rules, obviously, but I'll come in and I'll photocopy, say, a number of sections out of a number of books, which the students will then use to write their essays. And in my view, two things happen there. One is they get copies that they can now read at a time that's convenient for them, and they don't have to compete with other students for that book.
That's right.
The second thing is that my experience of students is that students come into a library, the really good students find all the good books, but most students don't. And so most students end up writing their essays with what I would call, if not inferior, but very average materials. And therefore their essay is never anything above a very average at best essay. But by using digital distribution, then I can make sure that my students get very good material. Everyone gets really good material, rather than average stuff.
Good point, good point.
Now, you would think that that would automatically increase the level of their assignments. I'm not sure it necessarily does. But at least it gives everybody the same opportunity. And again, I've always been concerned when we had campus-based with libraries, is that if you had 15 students in a class, and in most of our libraries there'd be no more than 20 or 30 books on an essay topic that would really be helpful. Well, on average, that's only 2 books per student. Assuming, of course, that they all do them in the last 2 weeks of the which most of them do.
Which is true.
So the digital use of technology has enabled us to basically make the resources available to more students at the same time, and takes away the competition of getting the right books. So that's critical as far as I'm concerned.
Very good.